Welcome back, dear viewers. You're still watching The Breakfast Show live on Nile TV International. It's now time for our first and main topic of discussion for today. And as we noted earlier, we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence, a very important and emerging topic, a very interesting one as well. And to shed more light on this topic, we're most delighted to be joined here in the studio by Dr. Nevine Makram Labib, and she's the chair of the Computer and Information Systems Department at the Sadat Academy for Management Sciences. A very good morning, Dr. Nevine, and thank you so much for joining us on The Breakfast Show.
Good morning. Thank you for your invitation.
Thank you so much for being with us. Doctor, first of all, if we can define what is artificial intelligence.
Okay, artificial intelligence has many definitions, but for the sake of our subject today, and in this context of the Sustainable Development Goals, we can say that it is a discipline that aims at kind of simulating the human intelligence, doing the jobs that usually are performed or done by humans. That's talking about it in a global or a comprehensive view.
Yes. So where does Egypt stand from artificial intelligence?
I guess we have a very good opportunity to achieve this here, because we have the National Council for Artificial Intelligence that started in 2019, November 2019. And we have many projects that are making use of artificial intelligence techniques nowadays, especially in healthcare.
Doctor, as we know that also Egypt has gone a milestone in the achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. If you can tell us about the Sustainable Development Goals and its relation with artificial intelligence.
Okay, as we all know that these are 17 goals that were defined by the United Nations in 2015, and they have 163 targets as well, and we have kind of indicators for each goal. We call them global goals. These goals aim at ending poverty and hunger worldwide. Okay, so they start by trying to fight poverty, ending hunger, kind of eliminate the discrimination and inequalities, providing better healthcare services, providing better educational systems, providing better cities, talking about kind of smart cities, better environment, better everything for everybody.
Yes. So the role of artificial intelligence here in achieving these goals.
For example, let's take the poverty issue. With artificial intelligence, you will create many jobs. So you try to deal with the unemployment. That's a very important point. You try to enhance our educational systems. For example, not only providing the students with the syllabus and the content, the usual one, but trying to customize the syllabus so as to go with each learner style, trying to do better testing, better assessment of the needs of the student, and better assessment of the level of the student. I guess that's a very important point that's on our agenda in Egypt, the educational system, especially with the coronavirus.
Doctor, do you believe that there's a misconception about artificial intelligence? Like some people might think that it's technology being spying on them, following them everywhere, it's unethical. Is this a misconception?
It's not a misconception, because some systems do so. Okay, because in order to provide you with better services, I need to collect more data and more information about you. So that's kind of monitoring as well. So they do have a point. Sorry. So it's not a misconception, but they have another misconception, that the intelligent systems will replace humans. So we're not talking about replacing humans, we're talking about helping humans and supporting them in their lives, in their usual life. So that's a different concept or a different perception.
Also, Doctor, I would like to know about the role of artificial intelligence. You mentioned that one of the goals is building smart cities and new cities and so on and so forth. How can artificial intelligence help in this aspect, for instance?
Okay, for example, in Egypt we have
the
nowadays
new administrative capital, of
exactly.
course.
So we have the smart cities concept. It's kind of, let's say it in a simple way, kind of providing an IT infrastructure that will link all of the devices, persons, and everybody, everything. We call it the Internet of Things or Internet of Everything, so that you can control all the devices, okay, because you will be linked. That's better services for anyone who will be living there.
Doctor, speaking of course about the COVID-19, which has brought the whole world to a standstill, do you believe that when it comes to artificial intelligence, the COVID-19 has fastened the pace or has helped artificial intelligence to gain momentum?
Definitely. Because before coronavirus, you know, they were perceiving the artificial intelligence as kind of a luxury. With coronavirus, they had to admit that it's not a luxury anymore. For example, dealing with the education system, again, we were able to provide online assessment, online testing. I mean, we were able to provide the education for the learners, the training as well, the healthcare. You know, there are some systems, for example, we have some medical chatbot. A chatbot is a system that can have a conversation, like the ones we're having right now. So this chatbot, we're able to diagnose the case so as to identify if it's a coronavirus or
and
a flu
that
or
is completely
anything.
being done by a machine.
Yes, by a machine, by a system that can make use of the symptoms, signs, tests, and so on. And then this system was able to relate and to link with other physicians or medical doctors so as to have a teleconsultation for this patient if he is a coronavirus patient. So we had to admit at this point that without artificial intelligence, it would have been a real disaster.
Doctor, from what you're saying, that the digital transformation that Egypt has witnessed, this has helped promote or boost the use of artificial intelligence. But what are the challenges facing us right now here in Egypt to further promote artificial intelligence?
Data. Yes, that's the main challenge for us. Having good data. Usually when we talk to students, even the postgraduate students, we say that we need good data. Good data is accurate, complete data, updated, timely, economic as well. So we need to work, or we need to focus on this data, and we need to decide upon the data accessibility. Who has the privilege of accessing these data? That's a main issue, the data security. So I guess it all revolves around the data. And another aspect, a very important one, is the mindset. We need to change our mindset.
Yes, but don't you think, Doctor, that going digital and the digital transformation that Egypt is witnessing on all fronts, education, health, that under, of course, the leadership of President Fattah al-Sisi, don't you think that would make it make the data more accessible and easier to have for the experts?
Definitely, because before going through the adopting the digital transformation, we do what we call digitizing. Digitizing is kindly working on the data so as to change it from analog to digital. So in this process, we do kind of a validation for this data, and we make it good data. Once you have the data, then you can build on it, work on it, do some processing, some analytics, and have good indicators that can be used even with planning, with the strategic things here in our country.
Doctor, also in Egypt here we're witnessing development on various fronts. Mega projects and development projects are being made by the president, and of course the presidential initiatives. How can artificial intelligence act as a catalyst for maintaining these development projects?
Actually, it has a major role in all of these projects. As you just mentioned, these are mega projects. And the good thing is that we're talking about smart government. Smart government is kind of linking all of the agencies and the ministries together in order to achieve better performance in these projects. So for example, taking the healthcare. So you have many projects that were done, especially with the coronavirus, trying to find the predisposing factors, the risk factors, working on what we call differential diagnosis, working on assessing the different treatments, working on vaccines. So that's a main issue again. That's a top priority for our country.
Doctor, also what about the passion among the youth to join this or to know more about artificial intelligence, or even to be enrolled in a department that is especially dedicated to artificial intelligence?
Actually, our president is working on this very hard. Now you have many faculties that are focusing and teaching artificial intelligence. And we have, as we just mentioned, the youth. They're very interested in this domain. Even the ones who are not really studying computer science, they went to enroll in other courses related to artificial intelligence. They think about robotics. Nowadays we have many questions and inquiries about robotics and about why don't you work on some courses for robotics. And thank God that we have many initiatives done by the Ministry of Communication. That's free way to teach and to make some awareness for the youth. So
Yeah,
actually
that
they're
brings
very
me actually to my next question. How do you see the role of the Ministry of Communications in promoting artificial intelligence and also the digital transformation?
They're focusing on the youth, which is a very good point, because we need the new generation to kind of design these systems, because one of the challenges is the lack of talent that's worldwide. So our ministry, thank God, that they're focusing on this. They're enabling these students to learn. They're making them exposed to other countries' knowledge. That's very important. And they're working on training for the other ministries, because we cannot really ignore the employees, the current employees, or the ones that are in our age. For example, it's not only the youth. You have to work on both aspects. So they're doing a very good job in the awareness, education, and training.
Yeah, Doctor, for those young viewers watching us, if they're wondering about what would they graduate to be if they majored in artificial intelligence, what could be the fields that they can work on or excel in?
All fields, because you have now the AI, the intelligent systems everywhere. For example, the smart cities that you just mentioned, this is offering many jobs. The healthcare, banking. With banking you have many opportunities. Education, the oil field. All of these fields nowadays are making use of artificial intelligence.
And do they have to acquire certain skills, certain talents, or it's just about knowledge and enhancing the horizon of their knowledge?
It depends on the job. If you're talking about junior or senior, if you're talking about a programmer, a developer, or someone who's going for testing, or a project manager who's kindly a senior consultant. So it differs based on the job description.
How do you see the future of artificial intelligence in Egypt?
I see that it will be embedded in all of the systems. Now we're starting in the banking, for example, and we're linked, okay, or we're coded in another way with the ID. So we'll be able to extract many indicators that will help in the planning for the future.
And if we talk about the needs assessment, what do we currently need aside from data, or how can we, the challenges or the obstacles that we're facing in collecting this data, be facilitated?
The mindset. Because sometimes people think that they own the data and they do not want to give it or to provide it in a good way. So that's the mindset. They need to think that it's good for our country, it's good for everyone, that we're not really replacing them. No, we're supporting them, that when they provide us with data, we'll be able to help them. That's the change that we need to do. That's all.
Does the media have a role to play here? For instance, public service announcements, campaigns, public awareness campagns?
I think media should focus on awareness and on shedding more light on the success stories. Because people, they don't know what's going on here. Whenever I go to give lectures, usually I end it with a success story, because we're actually working on it and it's not new. We started the digital transformation in 2016, and we have the smart government. We have one of the layer in this architecture that's making use of artificial intelligence for the analytics. So we're already on. We're not behind.
Yes. What about, Doctor, for the older generation? Would we leave them behind, or how can they adapt or blend in with all the new emerging technologies and so on and so forth?
No, of course you will not leave them behind. You will make them understand that it's a win-win situation. Okay, you have to learn in order to benefit from these systems. And I think that the culture in Egypt has changed. Okay, people now are more accepting what's going on. Like, for example, when the coronavirus started 1 year ago, and you had to switch to online, the parents were very worried and they were against it. Now they understand what's online testing, what's online teaching, and they trust the system more.
Yes.
So they
Indeed, and even some at the beginning thought that it might be a myth, but today we're seeing all the people on the streets wearing their masks, keeping the preventative measures.
Yes. Nowadays they believe in it.
Yes. Speaking about success stories, Doctor, is there a story that you'd like to shed the light on, highlighting the impact of or the strength of artificial intelligence?
Actually having the ID and trying to code everybody in Egypt was a very good start. And having this database or a data warehouse, which is a bigger database that is not hacked till now, is a very good story for us. The healthcare systems in Egypt, I guess there are many enhancements and improvements. That's another story. And I guess the education is a story, is a real success story, because we were very worried as instructors and professors that we will not be able to provide the same education for our students. So.
Speaking about education, do you think that Doctor one day will be back to the case as it was before COVID-19, or this is the new normal, as they call it?
I guess no, we'll stick to the hybrid model, okay, suggested by the ministry. But it will not be a total online, because we still miss seeing our students. You know, we have a kind of a social aspect and touch. You have to meet your students. It's another story. It's not
being physically there.
Being physically there every now and then is good. So the hybrid model will stay. It's not going to be totally online unless we have more cases. So.
I think that the government is doing a great job when it comes to combating COVID-19, and I believe Egypt has been a model even for other countries in dealing with this crisis.
Yes, because Egypt was able to continue that work. It's not a total shutdown, and we had the education, the healthcare. Everything was going okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Doctor, speaking about changing the mindset, do you think that this would be a difficult job, or would it be easy to make the people cope with artificial intelligence and the issue of data privacy and so on and so forth?
It's the most difficult challenge. It's not easy at all, especially with Egyptians, because we stick to our data, we stick to documents, you know, that's our culture. It started like this. So now with the coronavirus, we had to switch. For example, when you send an email and then you find some of the employees, the faculty asking you, where's the document? There are no documents there, it's an e-document. How come that we have an e-document? When you talk about blockchain, that you're trying to secure the transactions, you're trying to have one edition or one version of the story, one version of the truth, and that you can really secure. They do not understand this. They're still kind of worried and scared when it comes to data privacy.
Yeah, well, we hope this mindset would one day change for the better and for the sake of the people. Doctor, as we're wrapping up, I'd like to listen to your closing remarks.
I think we should work on kind of cooperation with other institutions and other entities. Okay, and that's actually the last goal, the SDG 17, at working on collaboration and cooperation, trying to make it a win-win situation with all of the stakeholders. If we focus on this global objective or goal, I think we'll be making things easier and we'll be working better towards achieving 2030, the sustainability goals.
Dr. Nevine Makram Labib, the Chair of Computer Information Systems Departments at Academy for Management Sciences. We really appreciate your insight, and thank you so much for being with us on The Breakfast Show.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you too.
And dear viewers, by this we wrap up this segment on The Breakfast Show, and we move on to a quick break, and then we'll be back to resume the remaining segments of The Breakfast Show live on Nile TV International.